Hey, welcome back. You're listening to episode 2 of Dwelling Place. I'm Boone, and I'm here with my wife, Lily.
Hey guys, welcome back.
Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for not running away after the first episode. We're glad you stuck with us, and excited to keep this journey going, this train chugging along, seeing where this thing takes us. It's been fun so far. Hope you guys have had a good week, however long it's been since the last episode, since you last tuned in. Yeah, we're just doing our thing, just recording a bunch of episodes.
The grind is real.
The grind? No, it's fun. It's not a grind. It's not a grind when it's fun. So how was your day today, Lillian? What did you do?
You were with me all day.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Just kidding. We've literally been doing this most of the day.
Yeah, just hanging out, kind of planning episodes and talking about stuff, brainstorming, hanging out with the baby. Little, do I say her name on here? Is it weird?
No, what?
Little Lennon.
Little baby Lennon.
Baby Lennon.
I chose the cutest baby name ever. Nobody steal that.
I call her Lemon.
Lemon, yeah.
She's really chunky, so she's a big fat lemon. Big fat lemon.
She's cute.
She's really cute. We're a little biased, but she's literally the cutest baby I've ever seen in my entire life.
Literally, I entered her into a Gerber baby contest like last week because they're doing a contest, and I'm just waiting to get our $25,000.
I'm gonna be mad if she doesn't win.
Yeah, me too.
We better win.
Righteous anger.
There's no way. There's no way she doesn't win. She's literally the perfect little baby.
I adore her.
Oh, me too. Man.
This episode's just about Lennon. We're just gonna talk
Yeah,
about
so
cute baby Lennon.
Our kid's cooler than yours.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
No, she can't do much. She just sits there and goes,
Yeah, we adore her.
She can't do a whole lot right now.
But no, it would not be a very exciting
Our little
episode.
rabbit might technically be smarter than her right now.
Stop. She's a genius.
She's pretty smart. We were at a Sunday service worship practice, and we would hold the mic up to her, and she would start speaking into the mic whenever you held the mic up to her mouth, and you moved it away, and she would just kind of stare at it and stop.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was so cute. She was watching us lead worship, and she was like, gimme, gimme, but like not talking.
Yeah, you'd hold it up to her, and she'd go, and she'd hear herself in like the main speakers in the house, and you'd take the mic away, and she'd look at you like, where'd it go?
Where'd it go?
It's
Give
pretty
it
funny.
back.
It's pretty funny. I love her.
Me too. Yep, glad you guys, this is it. Thank you guys for listening. No.
Yeah, tune in next week. No.
I'm just kidding. We have some good stuff to talk about.
Nice segue.
Nice segue.
Yeah, I guess we'll just dive right into what we're talking about today. It's just going to be kind of a foundational thing. We're talking about love.
Yep.
Love.
Love.
Hearts. Heart emoji. Heart eyes.
Stop.
Yeah, so we're just going to talk about kind of foundational. What is love? Who is love? Where is love?
Stop.
When is love?
No one's going to take us seriously.
Pretty much just looking at loving each other as Christ loved us. And that includes marriages, like our relationship, or maybe it's just friendships or significant other relationships. Maybe you're not married yet.
A lot of this is probably going to be regarding marriage, just because that's where we're at in our season.
Yeah, that's just how we relate to things and stuff.
But we're gonna try and include like just daily relationships, everyday conversation with people, and then
it's
just
usually all
friendships,
applicable back and forth, both ways, which is cool.
Love is cool.
Love is pretty sweet. So the first thing I guess would just be what is it? What is, like, at its purest form? What is love? What is perfect love? And the first thing that came to my mind would just be the stereotypical churchgoer verse, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him, I don't know why I'm saying it like a poem, but whoever believes in him will have everlasting life, or shall not perish but have everlasting life. Sorry.
Wow.
And that's something that, yeah, that was pretty good.
That
was pretty good.
Christian, whatever.
That's something I understand now a little more as a parent. God gave his only kid, his only son, his only child to go die for, I know.
To
go die for all of civilization, past,
Yeah.
present, and future, you know,
I can't
and
even imagine.
it would be pretty hard for me to give up my little Lennon.
We just talked about Lennon for like the first 10 minutes of this. Like, you know, obviously we're obsessed with her.
It'd be pretty hard to go, yeah, even if it's for the whole, you know, to save the whole earth, you know, we would like to think, you know, yeah, we would, you know, we'd lay a life down to do that, but, you know, I don't know.
No, probably not.
It'd
Sorry,
be pretty
everyone.
tough. It's kind of a tough decision, you know, I love her.
Sorry,
And
everybody. It would just be us
yeah,
and
sorry.
Lennon.
Yeah, sorry, you guys are gone. Bye, everyone. We're just talking to ourselves. But yeah, Jesus was just the ultimate example of love, you know,
Yeah.
laying your life down for others,
Yeah.
giving your whole self for everyone else. You know,
Yeah.
that's just the ultimate example.
Well, and like what you were saying about parenthood being such a window into that and
Mm-hmm.
a new perspective of it, like it's just shown me also how God sees us and how much just such a good dad he is, because I think of Lennon as she grows up, and when she makes a mistake, you know,
Yeah.
it's going to be hard, but not in the way that you would think before, not in the way that you would think God would see you if you made a mistake before this. Now I picture her like falling down on her bike and being like, Mom, or, you know, like dumb things like painting on my wall or something. And I don't think it's the same as I pictured it before. I think it would be like oh, it's okay, my daughter, you know,
Yeah,
come to me. And
It's a cool, like, parallel having a child now. I mean, she's not old enough to, like, make mistakes and stuff yet.
Yeah,
but you can
but-
kind of think about, like, you know, what if she drew on the wall with a crayon?
yeah,
You can now, as parents and as, you know, Christ followers, instead of seeing that and thinking of it as a mistake and getting mad about it or punishing her, you know, we'll be like, think about, you know, what perfect love would do. Go, oh, it's okay.
yeah,
Try not to do it again. I love you. I'll clean it. It's okay. I'll clean it up for you. You don't have
yeah,
to do it.
yeah. Exactly. I've literally held her and cried for like 20 minutes.
I
Just
mean,
like, oh, I love you. You could never do any wrong in my eyes.
Yeah.
Like, you're an angel.
It is. It's just cool to think about, you know, it's the father, son, mother, daughter, father, daughter, whatever combination you want to go with. It's a cool mirror of just God and Jesus. You know, it just gives you a different lens to see that kind of stuff through.
Yeah.
You know, and it's okay that we make mistakes or we stumble, because as a parent, you know, should act. God's like, oh, it's okay. You know, you're trying. Good job.
Yeah.
Keep going. We'll do it together. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Because
really
he
cool.
is perfect love. Yeah. He's not going to condemn us as kids. He's a good dad and he's perfect love. And so he's going to say,
Yeah.
no, come to me. Let's make it better. I love you. And I think that's really beautiful.
It is. It's super beautiful. Thanks, God. You're pretty cool. You're a pretty good dad. So what's the other thing that you think of when you think of, you know, like love? What's the progression of verses that you just automatically think of?
1 Corinthians.
The fruits of the Spirit.
The fruits of the Spirit.
I'm going to read 1 Corinthians 13 here. It's kind of a big chunk, but it's really good.
Stick it out with him.
And
It's
I'm
really
going to read
good.
out of the Passion because I think it's really cool. I actually haven't read a whole lot of it, and I was thinking of what translation are we going to use for this? And Lily was like, look up the Passion, and it's really beautiful. It's they try to translate it the closest as they can to
Yeah.
the original meaning, and using, you know, the correct amount of words to like represent the emotion and stuff, not just
Yeah, they don't
really easy to understand
yeah,
stuff.
They don't condense it
Yeah.
into our English shortened translation. It's so beautiful and it's just really raw.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's cool. I might just use that from now on.
You're
Outside of
welcome.
this. So it starts out, if I were to speak with eloquence in earth's many languages and in the heavenly tongues of angels, yet I didn't express myself with love, my words would be reduced to the hollow sound of nothing, more than a clanging cymbal.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's good. And if I were to have the gift of prophecy with a profound understanding of God's hidden secrets, and if I possessed unending supernatural knowledge, and if I had the greatest gift of faith that could move mountains, but have never learned to love, then I am nothing.
Whoa, again.
Whoa. If I were to be so generous as to give away everything I own to feed the poor and offer my body to be burned as a martyr, without the pure motivation of love, I would gain nothing of value. and here's the whole fruits of the Spirit. It sounds a little bit different than I learned as a kid, but
I like it
it's
so
cool.
much.
It's more extrapolated.
Yeah, it's eye-opening.
Yeah. So it's love is large and incredibly patient. Love is gentle and consistently kind to all. It refuses to be jealous when blessing comes to someone else. Love does not brag about one's achievements, nor inflate its own importance. Love does not traffic in shame and disrespect, nor selfishly seek its own honor. Love is not easily Love is not easily irritated or quick to take offense. Love joyfully celebrates honestly and finds no delight in what is wrong. Love is a safe place of shelter, for it never stops believing the best for others. I like that a lot. Love never takes failure as defeat, for it never gives up. Something I always didn't pay attention to that I like going back to this. I didn't really understand as a kid. It doesn't say love does not anger. In other translations, it says love is slow to anger.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh. Sorry, that was probably really loud. I'll edit that down in post. But it's super cool. The Bible literally just gives you this list of different emotions and different actions that, you can kind of check yourself with. Some situation or something pops up. You can go, oh, you can do WWJD. You can go, what are the fruits of the Spirit? What qualities should I be displaying right now?
Yeah.
And if you don't feel like, maybe you're not showing the fruits of the Spirit, or you're not acting how you should, that kind of stuff comes just from spending that alone time with Jesus and digging into the Word and just having that personal relationship with Him and, doing life with Him. All that stuff just kind of comes about. The more you spend time with God, the more like Jesus you become.
Yeah.
What was the Christ likeness thing?
Oh, we said
example?
in our last episode, the best example of Christ likeness is just Christ.
It's so simple, but a lot of people, I don't know, we just don't get it sometimes. But the best example of Christ likeness is Christ. So if you find yourself, I don't know, like I just said, in different situations and whatnot, just be like Christ.
Yeah, the perfect example of love is the creator of love.
You just look at Him, you look in the Bible, what did He do? What are His characteristics? And, that's it. It's pretty simple. So along with that is, building a relationship with Him, and understanding His love for you and what that does for you as a person.
Yeah, we could dig so much deeper because identity has such a big
it does.
part in this, because once you have that relationship built and you're spending quality time, just in prayer and listening for His voice, He just begins to reveal that love to you, and you realize your identity as a person, like that old man's gone, and I am worthy of this God's love.
Yeah, once He kind of reveals, that to you, and you understand His love and what He did for you, dying on the cross and loving you, it becomes real to you, and that allows that to flow out of you, which is really cool. One of those, there's a lot of different kinds of love and different words for love in the Bible. One of them is agape love. And that's like a love that's only possible with God. It's loving someone to like the full extent that's possible. And that's how He loves us. And once you feel that, it's not something you on your own can do to other people. Yeah. But once He displays that to you and reveals that to you, then that just naturally overflows out of you to other people, and it's awesome. It's a beautiful thing. And with us two, touching on that, doing things like you hear people say, love God before your wife, your husband, before your significant other. That is really important, because then you end up getting your identity and your worth from that love of God and not from the love of a person. Yeah. That's a really important thing, especially if you want to get into a marriage, Yeah. Even in just friendships, just understanding the love of God and having that set before, feeling validated by other people or caring what other people think about you before what God thinks. Yeah. It's important to have Him up in that place above them. And it just makes you, like I said, it makes you get your identity and your worth from God, not from other people. That's a huge thing. Huge thing. And we know a little bit about that.
We do know a little bit about that. Lily struggled with that for a while. Lily's gonna be raw and honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we were married, we actually broke up 2 times.
It sucked. It was
Boone
awful.
was a big crybaby, I heard.
I was. I just went home and cried for
Yeah.
days.
I don't think it lasted for more than like a little over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Either time. Like it
wasn't very long.
I had to get my stuff straight. No, but really though, like about what we were saying, it was just I had heard that you had to have God set before your significant other. And I had heard that so many times in church and just so many times by, in family and friends telling us that. And I knew that, and even I said that. And I used to tell Boone, like, I love God more than you. Like, but I didn't fully grasp really putting him first.
Yeah.
And because it's more than just saying, like, oh, I love God more than you. Like, it's so much more than that.
Yeah, it is.
It's setting your foundation in him and your relationship in Christ, and then in letting your love for your husband or then my boyfriend pour out from that. And, and at that time, I just wasn't really, I didn't grasp it. And I had all these set expectations for Boone. And I, from my perspective, I was like, he's not meeting this for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what's going on. Maybe, does he not love me? What's wrong with me? What am I not giving him? Because he's not meeting this quote that I need fulfilled. Like, he's not filling my cup enough. And so I told him, we need to take a break. I need to figure stuff out. And then, I said some things like, you don't love me enough. all the dramatic things.
It's okay.
It is. He forgives me. We've talked about it. We're good. We're,
we're Gucci.
We're married now. But, it was just, we took that break, and on that break, I still don't even think I really realized until, probably even a year or 2 after that. Mm-hmm. But, we got back together, just because we couldn't be apart for that long. I was so dramatic. It was the most dramatic 2 weeks of my life.
It was hard.
My mom came into my room. I'm going to at her right now. I remember I came back after we broke up and I was sobbing. And my mom just came into my room. My parents are obsessed with Boone. They have been since the beginning.
No.
Boone's heard this a lot. And she came into my room while I was drenched in tears, like in the fetal position on my bed. And she sits next to me. She goes, I want you to know I feel bad, but you're making a mistake. She had told me, like, I wouldn't find anyone better than Boone. I'm making a huge mistake, which it sounds harsh, but like my mom's, they're amazing. They love me so much. They're so good. But she just loved Boone. She was upset at me. She knew I was being dumb. But anyway, I'm so glad you guys know that about us now.
Yep.
But yeah, I was setting my identity in getting that from Boone, and not from
getting the love you think you should get and validation from the other person and before God. Yeah.
And if I'm not getting that, I can't expect Boone to love me in the way that God does. He's not going to fulfill that. Yeah. That ain't going to happen.
No. You need to get like I said, your identity from God, and once that happens, you get your identity out of him and you figure out, hey, I'm worthy. I'm made whole. I'm a new creation. I'm awesome. Yeah. And you just realize other people are worthy too. Jesus died for them also. Yeah. He perfect love died for them too. And that kind of thing, just once you learn how to love like that, it really helps you to also work through different things like conflict in relationships and marriages, and how to handle emotions and how to deal with actions and what to say or what to do. And that kind of brings us to, during a fight or a tense period of time.
We don't aggressively fight. We passively
sit across the room and go
and heavy side each other. Our roommate can attest to that.
Oh yeah. One thing that's important though to kind of differentiate is our emotions and what are right emotions or wrong emotions. Because back in the garden with Adam and Eve, do you think there was anger or, frustration back then before, the original sin, like they say, do you think that stuff was there? No, of course not. And one of the things, Jesus dying did was really set us kind of back to where we were supposed to be, back in oneness with him. So it takes a lot of just working it out with Jesus and spending time with him to really get, those bad emotions and thoughts and feelings, to be able to just filter them out and be able to look at conflicts and situations through the lens of love and how to feel and how to respond to things instead of react. And those are the same word technically, but there's different connotations there. So, when you respond to something, it's the connotations behind that is it's more thoughtful. You're really thinking about what you're going to say or do, and reacting is a very knee-jerk, twitchy, sort of deal.
Like, for example, I don't feel loved, I'm breaking up with you.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. Instead of, trying to sit down with each other and talk it out and say, why are we feeling like this? You know? And excuse me. And when we agree with what Jesus says about us and about other people, we respond to a situation with grace and humility. We understand perfect love, and we understand, love is patient, love is kind. So this conflict pops up, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to treat the other person with kindness and respect, and really work through that situation instead of just dropping it, Sorry, but we keep going back to us as an example, but it's,
well, it's just
what we
it's
live
real.
through.
It's what we've experienced.
Yeah. But yeah, normally, when you respond to a situation like that and you really think about it and sit down and you kind of take what's happening and you put the fruit of the Spirit over it, and you really try to I don't know how to say it, like do things through the fruits of the Spirit, and not do them through the quick reacting, actions. Things end up good. just to put it, in simple terms. And when you just react to things really quickly, and when you react to stuff, it's usually out of anger, out of fear, frustration. That doesn't end very well. Does not end very well at all.
Yeah, and it's to your mom sitting at the end of your bed telling you made a big mistake.
Telling you you're dumb.
Boone feels like the coolest guy in the world. You made a mistake.
They make me feel good. They're pretty cool people. So like, how do we respond out of love instead of reacting to something? We turn our thoughts to God. We surrender our those emotions.
Yeah, and I get so It's just such a big thing I've seen on social media, and especially in like Christian pages. Like, don't we still want to, in quotes, I'm doing air quotes right now, validate your emotions. And I think that's such a touchy thing. Yeah. Because yes, you can feel things, but as Christ is our foundation, and especially with these like the fruit of the Spirit that we're supposed to be carrying with us, because you have the Holy Spirit in you, those emotions may be real, but you have something far greater than those. Oh yeah. And like we were saying, like it's either, from Adam way back in the garden, or from Christ and what he's done for us. And so when you look at your emotions, and if those aren't reflecting the fruit of the Spirit, then those aren't of God.
It goes back to the being a new creation in Christ. So you are a whole new man, a whole new woman. Yeah. If you're feeling fear, that's not a part of the new man or new woman.
Yeah, cast that out.
That's part of the old man who died with Jesus. Get that out. Gone. Get it out of here. Kill it.
And I hear all the time, like, well, I don't want to take away anything from your emotions. It's so real. I want to validate your emotions, Well, but also don't give them power if they're not of the fruit of the Spirit.
See, that makes me think of so there's things that are facts, and there's things that are the truth. Yeah. So fact, I'm feeling fear. That's something that's happening. The truth is, I don't have to feel that. Yeah. God.
The truth is, there's nothing to fear.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just you surrender that thought to God, you can get to a place where, I don't know how to word it. So let's say, I don't know, being angry or feeling fearful. I don't know if I want to say it's okay. I don't know if that's the right word. Just don't act on it. But you can get to a point where something that used to make you fearful doesn't anymore because you have God.
Well, it's okay if when you feel that, you're looking at it and recognizing, okay, this isn't of the Lord. This isn't of me.
It's not okay to just sit there and wallow in that or act on it.
Yeah, it's let's make this go away and realign myself with the Word.
And that just goes back to, surrender your thoughts, surrender your emotions. If you have to commit the whole love is patient, love is kind, commit that to your memory. Something happens, just go back to that, recite it in your head.
Yeah, does this align with this?
Does it align with this? Go down the list. Something I like to do if I'm ever in a weird situation or I'm feeling anxious, depressed, sad, whatever, I like to just put in some earbuds, crank up some Brian Johnson. Let's go to town. Let's just do some worship music, and just talk to God, hang out with him, because in the presence of the Lord, those things can't stay. They just fall flat. Yeah. There's no way they can be there. They suck. They don't belong there. So with that, I'll have another verse here for you guys. It's 2 Corinthians 10:5, and it'll be passion again. We can demolish every deceptive fantasy that opposes God and break through every arrogant attitude that is raised up in defiance of the true knowledge of God. We capture, like prisoners of war, every thought and insist that it bow in obedience to the Anointed One. That's super cool. That's really I love good. That. Other translations, it just says, take every thought captive. This one says, capture, like prisoners of war, every thought and insist that it bow in obedience to the Anointed One. Yeah. That makes me think prisoners of war weren't treated very well. At all.
Well, they didn't, say, oh, yeah, sure, take me in.
Yeah, no, prisoners of war were, wrongly. They're tortured and, all that kind of stuff. So it's saying take thoughts captive like prisoners of war, chuck those things, get rid of them, destroy them, they don't belong there. Any thought, any action that goes against God, take that captive and just get rid of it. Yeah. It doesn't belong.
That's the Lord telling you, hey, you have authority over this emotion. You have authority over this thought. And if it's not of me and it's not good and it's not of love, then you have the power to chuck it.
Flush that down. That's something we say in our group. Yeah. Got a bad thought, bad word, whatever. Flush. Flush it down the toilet. You don't need that. Yeah, I don't know. That's seems a little quick, but I don't know.
It did seem a little quick.
Maybe it's not. Just sitting here talking to each other, time goes by kind of quick. I know. I guess we can talk, how has this affected us? Kind of experiencing this love and some final thoughts on it, I guess.
Wrap it up thoughts?
With us as a couple, as a married couple, kind of realizing our identities and what perfect love has done for us. And, in the context of conflicts and whatnot, it's allowed us to actually be able, sometimes it's still not handled as well as it could be, but
we are not all-star Christians.
No, not at all. But we don't break up for 2 weeks anymore.
No, we don't.
We can actually sit down and talk to each other about what's going on and work through it with God together, and not just go, hey, we'll see you in 2 weeks. I'm going to go cry for a while.
Wow. At me.
No, I don't mean at you.
So in our personal experience, we very early on in our relationship, we decided, we want to marry each other. And so with that in mind,
we just knew.
We knew, yeah. And so with that in mind, when we came across that, we were like, okay, well, this is something I want to pursue. Yeah. So let's work at it. And so, just looking back, I'm grateful. Obviously, Boone just goofy smiled at me from across the table. You're welcome. But I just take that into consideration. Whether you're married or not, we really want everyone to be able to relate to this. Yeah. We want this to be relatable. Our vision for this podcast is just to get raw and real, and share anything and everything.
Yep.
Whatever's on our minds,
All the
whatever's
gritty
on your minds.
details.
And so we really want this to be a relatable, safe place for everyone. So I really hope you guys related to this. You guys are awesome. We're super blessed to be doing this.
Yeah, let us know. Shoot us any email, dwellingplacepodcast@gmail.com. Comment on our Facebook, Instagram. It's just Dwelling Place Podcast. Look it up.
Yeah, we're so official.
I know, yeah, it's cool. Tell us we're dumb. Tell us you liked it, whatever. If you have
Don't tell us we're dumb.
Yeah,
that
no.
wouldn't be out of love.
I'll just be sad.
Yeah, I'm hoping to maybe at the end of each podcast each week we could share prayer requests or testimonies or whatever you guys are sending us. Obviously, if you want it to be anonymous, let us know. I don't want to be dropping names on personal things, but we'd really like to build a community here and just have this be a safe place to grow together, learn together,
awesome.
and just do this whole thing together as a community. Word.
Thanks.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you guys next week.
Next week.
Bye.